Let's talk a bit about the Regency era and have a very brief introduction to one of the most popular times for period dramas. In British history, the Regency era is the name used for the period between 1811 and 1820. During these 9 years, George the Prince of Wales became Prince Regent. His father, King George III, became unable to rule due to several physical and mental health issues. By royal assent, on the 5th February 1811, the Prince of Wales takes charge of his new functions. Thus it is that the new Prince Regent lends his name to the era. The Regency era has also been associated with a larger time span between the late 18th century and the Georgian era and the beginning of Queen Victoria's reign. During this period, England suffers great transformations. The impact of the industrial and agrarian revolutions makes itself felt, and this reflects itself upon the entire social and economical structure. Cities start to grow, sometimes disorderly, and struggle to accommodate the increasing numbers of population. There are also changes in architecture both in cities, countryside manors, and public buildings, with the rise of neoclassicism. One of the biggest changes in society is partially provoked by the collapse of the Ancien Régime. Before, you had society divided into 3 estates: the clergy, the nobility, and the people. This collapse led to the rise of the class-based social division. There are significant social changes, and in politics there is a push towards the abolition of slavery across the British Empire. The impact of industrialization led to the growing presence of women and children in the workforce, usually under significantly smaller pay than men. On the opposite hand, and in spite of child labor, childhood begins to gain an important role, especially in wealthy circles. Sensibility surrounding children will change, and there is a greater distinction between the social role of the adult and that of the child. The very public world of the 18th century slowly gives way to the very private world of the 19th century. The Regency era will also see changes in art, literature, and sport. One of the most famous writers of this time is Jane Austen, who portrayed the lives of the gentry and the upper middle class. Her novels, such as Pride and Prejudice, are still very popular today. Boxing, cricket, horse racing, football, rowing, sailing, these are only some of the sports that progress in this era. Boxing was particularly popular and often accompanied by betting and gambling. Amid the main events of the Regency era, one can count the Napoleonic Wars. The Napoleonic Wars lasted between the 18th May 1803 and the 20th November 1815. The British Navy had a preponderant role, particularly after Napoleon tried to enforce a continental blockade. This period also contains the year without a summer. In 1815, a volcanic eruption of Mount Tambora in modern-day Indonesia caused abnormally low temperatures. Neoclassicism revived the art of classical antiquity with a 19th century touch. This influences education, architecture, and even women's fashion. One of the most popular fabrics was muslin, a type of cotton weave. Light colors were preferred, often with printed patterns, and new innovations in this regard made the latter more accessible. Later, neoclassicism and academic painting will compete with Romanticism. This movement focused on the return to nature, the private and the individual, while retrieving Gothic and medieval themes.